Why you should never pay 5,000 baht ever. That pretty much sums up my stance in regards to spending money on Thai girls. Now look, I'm all in favor of spending money on the right things. There's no scenario that I can think of in which I would say, yeah, paying 5,000 baht for that girl makes perfect sense, go ahead buddy. It just doesn't make sense. In a way, paying that much defies part of the reason why you're going to Thailand in the first place. To get more for your money. You should be willing to spend money. In fact, not being willing to spend money is one of the reasons to burn your entire trip to the ground. When you start pinching pennies, book the cheapest accommodation, etc., then this is the absolute downfall. But paying 5,000 Thai baht for a girl is like booking a $500 per night accommodation, when you know that $150 per night that room would offer anything you could possibly want already. So in my opinion, that's the same with girls. Anything you could want in terms of looks, services, etc., you can get for much, much lower than 5,000 baht. So you need to understand that there's a ceiling to it all. How much fun you have with a girl, the girl's attractiveness, the quality of her service. So generally speaking, when you go from, let's say, 500 baht to 1,500 baht, or even to 2,000, yeah, the attractiveness of that girl increases, of course, in most cases. However, going beyond that, it's not like a girl you find attractive is now suddenly twice as attractive. It's kind of impossible. If she's very attractive for you already, a 9 out of 10, what do you expect when you pay twice as much that she's a 15 out of 10? It's just not possible. In my opinion, you get diminishing returns if you're willing to go and pay crazy amounts like that. It's not going to be better, probably worse, because now you also have much higher expectations. And the more guys do this, the more girls think these kinds of prices are okay. Guys pay 3,000 baht short time, 5,000 long time, and that's what the girls will be asking for from now on. So you gotta understand and stick to the local prices. Just because where you are from it will cost, let's say, $300 per hour, you can't just come here and start paying $150 per hour and think you're getting a great deal. If you're willing to spend that much, you'll quickly be singled out as a target for a long game. Now, I don't want to go into the details, it would be too long. I have a separate video on that topic, but to keep it short, it's basically when a girl thinks she can get more from you than the usual. And then they start employing the long game tactics, which could even include getting it that you get it for free at certain times, simply because she knows she's in it for the long run for that big win. And the best way to not even be perceived as a candidate for long game is to draw a line and stop paying these ridiculous amounts. Now, let's just take that number that I've mentioned, 5,000 baht. It makes only sense for me in one specific scenario that you have to be in. And even then, I would think about it twice and ask myself, what are the odds that this is actually going to work out? So let's say you meet that specific girl and you want her and you want to meet her long term, meeting over and over again. If she insists on a high price, then maybe, just maybe, but you have to think about this. Maybe it makes sense to pay that amount just to get your foot in the door, to get to know the girl, and then, after that you get better rates, etc. However, even then I would argue, is she really an outlier? Like this 1 out of 10,000 girls who is so unique that no alternative exists? I highly doubt it. Maybe it's just you not wanting to spend more time looking around. But then at least admit that, with places such as Pattaya and Bangkok, you can't really say that there's this one girl, she's so unique, when you have thousands to choose from. And lastly, if she is asking for too much, she doesn't like you. It's that plain and simple, at least in most cases. There are exceptions, but if a freelancer is quoting you 5,000 baht, you should walk off. Even if you pay, it's probably not going to be a sublime experience. Of course, if you go to a Google bar, there are fixed prices. Even if the girl likes you, it's not going to be cheaper in most cases. And then there's also the bar fine, etc. What I'm talking about is a freelancer for 5,000. So just stop it.